Welcome back after 3 months to Gumpla Grandpas. We've been gone for a little bit, but we're back.
We've been doing odds and ends. I see we have Best Girl.
Rebecca. Today we're doing Rebecca from Edgerunners. And there's no good Rebecca kit or figure. At least there wasn't when I started building this. They've since then made a third-party kit that looks really awesome. But I didn't know about that when I started, so I wanted to make the kit. And I saw this kit. I was like, that's pretty close to Rebecca. So I built it. And I have no idea who this character is. She's from some random show that Bandai really likes right now, because they have a bunch of these really interesting looking kits from it. But I don't know who this character is.
Is it the it has those fun looking mechs?
Yeah. The one that looks like they almost look like crawfish to me, or like crabs or something.
Oh, maybe not the same one. Because I built one and I'm literally looking at the fucking.
It's like white, neon, and
yeah,
like
sim duality or some shit.
Yes, sim duality.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I built the dice score actually because I have because I think it looks cool.
Yeah,
I think the mechs look pretty cool.
Yeah, that show. I bought also a bunch of option parts, and so this took a lot of 30-minute mission option parts. These parts are awesome. If you get the like bikini version option part things, they come with these really neat like kind of glittery blue pieces. But I needed a mix. I needed to mix up some pieces because Rebecca has a very unique style. And she also has a very unique haircut, which posed a really big challenge with this because I guess a lot of characters have bangs, and no character has a middle hair part like Rebecca does. Just kind of robbing pieces here, putting it over there. Sorry, other character. Slowly getting there. So you need to put the fists. The fists are a Kotobukiya upgrade thing for like, I forget what it is. Called, but it's just like big robo fists. I bore holes inside of the sleeves and put this kind of adapter piece in there. It was just what I was using to hold the pieces together. It came in that original kit, and I think it was something that was supposed to be used for the stand. And I was like, oh, this is a 3mm peg. I'm just gonna glue it inside the sleeve and use it as an adapter for these big hands. So it worked really well. I was pretty impressed by how well that worked. There was something stuck on there. I had to take it off. But glued it up together. And this is just me using like a pin vise and 3mm. It's around like 3mm. It's just a big pin vise that I bought from a hardware store that I used for putting in magnets on my Imperial Knights. And I think it was around like 3mm. Obviously, we don't use, millimeters. We use cheeseburgers per mile. So
yeah. Oh, I mean, speak for yourself. I'm currently using millimeters.
Right. You use, base 10. I use cheeseburgers per minute. So, but yeah. So it just kind of boring out the hole so I could put that other piece in there and glue it in there so that I could do the big hands. I figured, whenever she's in the jacket, she usually has like the big robo hands and stuff. There is sometimes where she has like the regular hands and stuff. And maybe if I had a chance to like redo this, I probably would have gone with magnets instead of doing the 3mm peg. But I don't know. I think visually she looks better with the big fists. I think they're pretty cool.
They definitely stand out a lot. I feel like that's a good part of her character was like, I got big robo fists. One's blue and one's red.
Yeah,
punch.
I think it definitely completes the silhouette of the character. So yeah, look at that. Definitely starting to really come together with very minimal work. So of course, iconic pose. Gotta do the middle finger. And next. So took some Tamiya putty, which this Tamiya putty stuff works really well. I've used a lot of different types of epoxy putties throughout the years, but Tamiya's was pretty easy to work with. It stayed soft for a while, and there were a lot of techniques that I had to look up on how to use it. One of the techniques was to use an oil to kind of not, you see how my thumb's starting to get like white, and it's just basically that stuff peeling off onto my thumb. They say to use oil to make it easier to shape, and that's what I've already done here as I make a north of the border wormy dealy. But so the problem with doing the oil is that it loses tackiness. So if you're going to connect it to a certain piece, like I am here, if it has too much oil on it, it will not adhere. So kind of word of caution, don't use too much oil, or use oil after you've already stuck it to the piece that you're going to start forming it on. So I got a whole set of silicone tools to also shape it.
Couldn't you have used like water?
So in the past I've used water before, and it just doesn't have the same like working time is what the best way to put it. So with the water, you can get it, you can shape it for a little while, but the oil like really does it. The oil stays on there for a lot longer and allows you to kind of shape it a lot. It allows you to get a smoother finish for a longer period of time. I'll say that. So the water will eventually it'll dry out, and then you have the tackiness, and that's really not what you want when you've spent, who knows how long forming one thing, and then all of a sudden you touch it and it just peels off on your finger and you die a little bit inside. But I cut off the whole bangs on the front piece of this and had to use a reference photo for a really long time. My God, dude, I shaped this for so freaking long, but
it looks really good though.
Thank you. I got to a point that it finally kind of looked like it belonged on the headpiece. So again, her hair is like super unique, so it's really hard, or it was really hard to get it to a point that I really liked. And the little headpiece that she has too.
Yeah.
So they already come with like a headpiece, so I just kind of attached some pieces onto the piece that it came with. And my 2 shades of green. There's like a white off green and then another green, because she doesn't have a lot of colors. So
yeah, she's pretty like blue green, and then her skin has like her tattoos.
Yeah, pretty much. The tattoos were honestly the worst part, but we'll see that later. Using my 1500 surfacer, white surfacer, because I want her to be nice and vibrant. Just using the rattle can. I have not been able to find the bottle of the 1500 surfacer in white. I've only been able to get like gray and black, which, those are great for other applications, but I need white. Where's the white, Mr. Hobby? Where did all the white go?
I mean, it's at my local hobby stores, so I can get it.
I bet it's at your local hobby store.
I'm currently looking at 2 cans of Surfacer 1500 white and 1500 black. I could even get 1500. What did I find the other day? I think like 1,000
pink and brown,
and like brown. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, here, check this out. So there was a hair stuck on this faceplate, and so here's a fun tips, tricks with me. If you get something on there and you can't get it off, or if you smudge it by touching it, like I'm doing with the tip of the can here, hoping to not mess up the finish. If you mess up the finish, all you got to do is flood it with paint again, and it'll level out. Ta-da!
They'll never know.
You cheat the system. Yeah, exactly. I did like 4 faceplates for Rebecca because I wanted to get like a bunch of different expressions. So one of these did end up being the garbage one, because the method that I used to make the eyes and the face and stuff was actually a method that people that do garage kits use a lot, which is basically use a gloss coat and then enamel paint, gloss coat, enamel paint. And I actually bought a bunch of Hobby Japan magazines because, dude, this technique is honestly very hard to find anything about online. You look it up, and I don't know if maybe I'm just not using the right verbiage or whatnot, but like I just couldn't find anything on it. And like when I bought these magazines, there was a bunch of different techniques and stuff on there that were like, hey, you can do this. You can dip your decals. this solution. Things become a lot easier. Yada yada yada. I'm like, man, I should just bought these magazines. I should just get a subscription to this magazine. Honestly, because damn.
I would in the States. It is very interesting because
wife.
Jack, I forget what I was calling my wife. I forget what I was calling her in reference to.
I'll just insert wife.
But I'd go. We'd go to not Books a Million. What's that big bookstore in the States?
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble. So we
go to seriously Barnes forgot Noble. Barnes and Noble?
Bro,
come on, man.
those silly American companies are beneath me now.
I don't need them anymore. I've been overseas for a few months now.
It's been 9 months, 8 months now.
Yeah, yeah. Not quite a year, but yeah.
Not quite a year. We're getting there. Either which way. But I would always go to the magazine section and read the hobby magazines, because it's like there's a couple stuff where it's like you really kind of have to. It's kind of like, I guess, 3D.
It's gatekeeping.
It is gatekeeping, but it's more of like stealing other methods from other people, right? Where it's like
yeah.
Exactly. I kind of want to use pastels on my Gundams because it's like, oh, that's what a lot of the doll people do, right? So it's like, oh, I can do that with my dolls, or the enamel thing, or I saw something once. I actually took this for the Zagok I did, not the Zagok, the Act guy. So it's a lot of white, right? And so when I was panel lining him, I didn't try to be nice about it. I literally just panel lined the fuck out of it. And then I went back in and I sandpapered everything off. That way that it was then nice and smooth. And it got rid of all my panel lining shit. So the panel lines are
like your imperfections or whatever.
With the imperfections and all that too. So it's like and maybe it's just because I'm still relatively inexperienced, and so much in the past couple of years has always been constant movement for me. So it's not like I can practice this craft as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
But whenever I would before I do the panel lines, next day go in and hit it with the alcohol, and I feel like the alcohol would always get in the panel line a little bit. So some sections of my panel lining were never as dark or as clean.
Yeah.
Whereas for this one, I took it from a guy who did airplanes. That's what he'd do. If he did his airplanes white, he would panel line, and then go in and sandpaper it down, and then hit it with the clear coat. And so everything is like a very nice, clean. Anyways, it's gatekeeping.
Yeah. For panel lining too, just like continuing that aside real quick. If you allow the enamel to dry, like if you just give it an hour and then you go back with a solvent, then with a one of those harder Q-tips, because you know how they sell those like pointed Q-tips that are a little bit more rough than your standard Q-tip. If you just take one of those and just like gently roll it off, you can take off the excess without taking off the panel lines that you did. That's usually what I do. But I think the letting it dry is the imperative part, because I've done it before where I like try to immediately go afterwards, but and it'll mess it up 100%. Like if you do it immediately afterwards, it's just no good. I usually just give it like maybe 30 minutes to dry, and then I go in there with the harder Q-tip.
Yeah, I got to the point because it's like if I'm panel lining, it's done. So it's like, all right, panel line, I'll just come back to this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Give it a full day, and that's like, okay, pop it off and then clear coat it, and we're done.
Yeah, the Mr. Let me see what this is. Mr. Weathering Color Solvent, the 110. That's what I use to clean off panel lines. It works really well. It doesn't eat out the stuff that's already inside of like the panel lines themselves, and I just think it's not as abrasive as like using other things, like because I've tried the other methods where it's like use enamel thinner or use lighter fluid, right? And it's like, yeah, those things work, but they also strip the the panel line. So it's like, all right, well, do I really want to use this, or do I just want to, clean it up, make it look nice? But that one, the Mr. Weathering solvent, is probably the best one that I've used that doesn't go overboard with cleaning off the stuff. So that's my suggestion, at least. Yeah. But I mean, I think I might try that sanding method, maybe with the Toyota that I got. The initial Toyota.
So long as it's white, right? Like that's the thing where it's like I didn't paint it either. Like the white of it is painted, so it's like it's you sand it down, hit it with a high grit, and it was nice and smooth. And that gloss is I didn't actually have gloss. I used matte, but either which way, it's like I'd never tell that if I didn't know I didn't paint it white, I wouldn't know.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's really good.
Nice.
My only issue with that entire kit is the fact that I use Gundam markers on it because I, still can't airbrush. But
yeah, I actually learned a cool technique with Gundam markers. If you spray a matte coat over whatever you're doing, and then use the Gundam marker, the like touch markers, and you just basically paint over the entire thing, just the entire piece of whatever you want to make look kind of grimy, and then you use a melamine sponge, like a magic eraser thing, and you just slowly start shaving off the magic eraser until you get to a point where it's like, all right, well, it's kind of grungy and looks gross, and this is what I wanted. It actually comes out pretty nice. It looks pretty good. I used it on one of the strike dog that I have. I think I sent some pictures over to the meme. But
did you find a video for that?
Yes, I did. I'll send it to you later. But yeah, I've seen a couple of videos now. Like I saved one.
Real quick.
What?
What is this video?
What is this video that we're watching right now?
No, it's just, bro. We had like a minute to 2 minutes of empty space.
Oh yeah,
like there's nothing's happening here. You're painting your hands blue, but
yeah, I know this. There was a lot of like really blurry footage and a lot of out of focus stuff, but I mean, this is the painting portion of it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Anyways, do you have a video for that Gundam marker?
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you. But once I saved one, I saw like 3 other people do it. So I was like, why is this a super common thing? I had no idea that you could do this. I always thought that the like real touch markers were kind of bad, to be honest. I felt like they were really good if you don't paint. Like, because you could emulate doing like pre-shading and stuff like that using the real touch markers. So it feels like, at least for me, right? It feels like a more novice tool to use when I have greater tools at my disposal and greater techniques that I could use too. So it's just kind of like, why bother doing the cheat when I can spend the time doing it properly?
Yeah.
And do nicer, to a greater extent, I should say. So not that there's anything wrong with using real touch markers, but if I was given the choice between a real touch marker or the airbrush, I would use the airbrush every single time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that brings a lot of value to it because I've been sitting on a pack of real touch markers for almost a decade now. It's been like, yeah, I don't use them because I don't need to.
Yeah.
I've used them for very, very niched things. But
let's see. Those the same ones that I have. I think so.
They're the ones that have like a fat tip on one side and a skinny tip on the other.
Okay, I don't have those ones specifically, but because
gotcha.
I have the generic Gundam marker.
Oh, is it like a paint pen? The one that
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Gotcha. Yeah, the paint pens, those work really well for getting. I mean, my opinion still stands. It's one of those things where it does kind of go back to it. It's like you could use the real touch marker, or not the real touch marker, but the Gundam marker gold to make some accents and stuff. And it does have its applications. You can like pour out the paint and do like tiny little things and make it look nice, or you could just spray something gold. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's how I ended up doing my gold. It's finicky. I don't know if it's the paint or just my marker or what. But my gold, if I press down, it just fucking flows right out the pen.
Yeah.
So I have to be super careful. So what I ended up doing is I was putting it onto some plastic, and I'd push down and get a little bit of the gold paint, and then I was just using my brush to paint it onto my kit, onto my Akai.
Yeah, that's usually the best approach to it, because otherwise, yeah, you can't. They don't provide a lot of control. It's just one of those things where it's like you kind of try to tap it a little bit, and then it'll just explode out that end.
Or it doesn't come out at all, and I'm just like struggling.
I took the Chrome one that they recently released, like Gundam Marker EX versions. There's a Chrome version, and what I did is that I just immediately broke the back end of it and poured all the paint into a glass jar so I could use it in my airbrush. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to use this with a stupid marker.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
100%. It works really well on the airbrush. It's kind of terrible to clean out, but it works really well in the airbrush. It's just... I find that anytime that there's a chrome paint, this is like an everlasting struggle, but chrome paints take forever to cure. So it doesn't matter if it's Moltau, it doesn't matter if it's Spastics, or even the Gundam marker ones. Once you put that chrome on there, it's going to look really nice. It's going to look really nice for a little while. And then you're going to wait a week. You're going to wait 2 weeks. You're going to wait a month. The second that you touch it, the paint will smear. And it's just like, I waited so long for this to dry and it's still smeared. I don't understand.
You should then. You might like, because I this is like one of those things. I know Barbados Rex, he has a food dryer.
I actually just bought a plate dryer. One of those ones that you can buy in Japan, that it's like it's a specific one for kits, for model kits. So yeah. Here's
I know whenever.
Yeah, here's some faces. I had to really kind of practice just to get it right, and I had to use a ton of reference. I used so many different references just to get like a good face, and I drew them all first because I'm like, all right, I want to be able to make sure that, you know, my artistic prowess at least allows for the ability to get some of these faces correctly. I actually used so I have these like pre-cut circles for just like using on kits and stuff. It's just a sheet of, you can see right here, but it's just a sheet of little circle masking tape things that are just pre-cut. You just pop them out. And I used 2 of the, I think it was like, it's like 4mm maybe. I forget the size, but basically I just wanted her iris to be kind of already shaped out. And this was like the most consistent and best way to get it done, because this was the first time I've ever done this technique specifically. This like, I'll call it like face-up garage kit style. This is going to be the best way to put it. I also messed up that masking tape with the knife, so I had to take a different approach. Oh no, actually no. That's a very, very tiny piece right there. That is her pupil.
Jesus, yeah.
I had to take out the.
Also, hold on. I can see her hair, and that's really good. You got a good match on that hair.
Yeah, dude. I was pretty proud of it. I was real proud of the end result here.
Did you look up someone else that already done the hair, or did you just do that yourself?
I didn't really see anybody else that made a Rebecca figure. I tried to look up and see if like anybody else had spent the time to make Best Girl, and not really. I did not see hardly anybody else. A lot of people did a lot of like 3D prints and stuff.
Mhm.
And there's apparently a tabletop game for Edgerunners that people have painted up the mini that you got for that, which also the mini you get with that hella messed up. It's the like 2 seconds before Adam Smasher kills her. So, you know, great great miniature to have and I think it was like a bonus too. So if you like pre-ordered the game, they gave you that as a bonus. It's like, I didn't want that. Nobody wants that. Who wants that? But
I mean, it's still cool.
it is cool. Depressing as hell, but cool. But yeah, I didn't really see anybody else that did something similar. And again, this was one of those things where, like I was saying in the beginning, most of these characters have bangs. Like most of these characters that are model kits or that have model kits based off of them, they all have bangs. None of them, not a single freaking one, does a middle part like Rebecca does. So in terms of actually getting something that looked like her hair, it definitely needed to have a bunch of modifications to it. Like I wasn't going to get something out of the box. So I'm struggling to all high hell with this.
I'm surprised because I know Cyberpunk, I know Edgerunners did. I can mention they have a board game because the Cyberpunk board game is like hella old.
Yeah.
But anyway, either which way, I'm surprised 30-minute missions hasn't done anything because I feel like that'd be like, oh yeah, you can customize them to make it look like this character from the show. Here's the hair for it.
They have done that, but with like a very niche show. There's like some show where there's a bunch of idols that they've been releasing a bunch of stuff for, and they did it for this other one. I'm kind of blanking on the name of the show, but it's the one where all the girls, or it's like horse racing, but all the horses are just girls.
Yeah, the horse girl show. Yeah. They're still horses. In show, they're still horses. But they also just have the form
look
of
like
a girl.
girls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Boss Coffee is actually doing a thing where you can collect all the coins of the horse girls, and so I'm on the hunt to collect all of the different coins.
You're part of the problem, man. This is why I can't have Rebecca in 30-minute missions.
hey man, the Boss Coffee's good. It happens to be like it happens to be more about, oh, I can get this thing for, and then I can put it on my wall of coffee.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we go. See, I'm trying to mask out so I can get the iris 100% circular and perfect.
Yep. That's a pretty good idea, though.
I'm a perfectionist and I hate my life. So.
But here's the thing: is that eyes aren't truly perfectly circle. They got to be a little.
They aren't. Yeah.
The one's got to be a little unhinged.
Yeah, and that's one of them is like that. They are really serving as guides. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've experienced this problem or how many eye decals you've put on, like 112 faces or whatnot. But like my biggest issue with putting on eyes on faces is getting them even. Is like getting them right perfect. And even like the Megami device figure that's sitting on my desk right now, you can see the pieces of it back there. That's the one that was putting all the decals on it. Yeah. Her hair is on right now, and I can see that like her left eye is like 2 degrees askew. I know it's there. It doesn't really look bad, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, I can't redo it from here. I just have to live with that, and it sucks. So this is a personal plight. Is what it is.
That's fair.
Yeah. I strive for perfection with eyes because it's one of those things where it's like, that's the center point of the face. If you can't get the eyes right, then
I guess it helps. I mean, if you have the expression, though, that should help. Especially if you're painting it. Mm-hmm. I feel like that could be a big help.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I was able to cheat some of the expressions definitely by using the circles as a base. Because, yeah, because even though it's like if she had like half-lidded eyes, what that would mean is that just when I started to paint out like the top of her eyelids, I could cut into the circle and I'd still have a good reference. It was basically just to gauge the size of the eyes. So it's like, all right, the eyes will be this size. What she will be doing will be around here. But if I needed to have like a almost half closed entirely eyes, yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it with this. So, but that's why most of the faces that I drew, I either tried to make it where like her iris was touching the top rim of her eyes, or if they were half lidded, it was like really only semi half lidded.
That's.
But yeah, and that one that has like the unhinged eyes, I actually got that one from. There's this really awesome statue of Rebecca where she's like shooting her guns and stuff like that. It was like one of these vinyl statues or whatnot. I'm like, because again, I had to get so many freaking reference pictures, and unfortunately, a lot of people really like to draw Rebecca. So it's like, all right, I need to sift through all this, NSFW artwork and try to get
you gotta go through all the fucking horn dogs.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, oh my gosh, my search history is ruined. I just wanted a good reference photo. Now I'm too distracted to look at her face. Pretty much what it came down to. But so this enamel is actually a locally sourced enamel. If that makes any sense. This is like a company out of the state that just has their own like batch of enamel, because for some reason, dude, getting enamels that have a solvent inside of them is damn near impossible to get in the States. And I actually just purchased a bunch of Tamiya enamels, and dude, I bought them from Poland.
Jesus.
Because I couldn't find anywhere locally. Like any of the local places were just like, yeah, we have the acrylic Tamiya. Like, can I have the enamel? No, can't. You can have the acrylic Tamiya. All right, fine.
So what is the advantage here to the acrylic? Not to the acrylic, to the enamel.
So the enamel, what it allows me to do, right? So I will first say this. I took these instructions from the magazines, right? So I was just kind of following the paces of that. But so if you seal your paints, right? If you seal your face, right? Like I did here with Rebecca, what that allows you to do is that when you use the enamel paints on top of a lacquered finish, you can then erase the enamel without affecting the bases underneath it. So basically, if I needed to rework her face, I could just wipe it entirely by just using an enamel thinner, and it won't affect the layers, the base layer. So I would never have to like respray her face. All I would have to do is just take an enamel thinner and just undo what I just did. So it's almost like in kind of like digital art. It's like adding a new layer is what it allows you to do.
I've always understood that. It was just in my mind, and maybe it's my misinformation, I thought enamel was hotter than lacquer and acrylic.
No, lacquer is the base. So on the order of operation things, right? So it has to be lacquer first, then enamel, then acrylic is how it goes. So that's the layer sandwich that you put it on. So you can put acrylic on top of lacquer, right? But you can't put enamel over acrylic, because then it starts to crack and deviate and stuff like that. So as long as you go in that order, so it's lacquer, enamel, acrylic, as long as you go in that order from like bottom to top, you'll never have any issues. But yeah, I learned that somewhat the hard way. One of the first kits that I used enamel with was this Ava kit that came from like a PS2 video game, and it was like a special version of the Ava that had like this
bro,
like
hold
chainsaw.
On. I get what you're doing, but I'm also watching what you're doing, and that's how you decided to tattoo. That's
yes.
Jesus, yeah, I can see that. I was just like, I'm surprised you didn't just get just print off water decals.
So on that, right? There's two parts to that. Printing off a. Well, let me finish my first story first. We have time.
Okay.
I'm going to be at this for a while.
Okay.
So the Evangelion kit, right? I use almost exclusively acrylic for everything, and then I didn't have a orange acrylic. I had an enamel acrylic. So I went over the like arm bits to do, because it was like the forearms were orange and then like the tips of the shoulder bits were orange, and I went over it with the enamel, and it did not dry properly. It like cracked to all high hell, and it made me very sad. And I was like, what the hell is even going on? I find out all of the things that don't work together. Also, yes, I messed up and I had to start over. But I usually find out all of the hobby don'ts by great tragedy. So,
of course.
Yeah, learn from my mistakes. But going back to why I didn't just print off the decal. So decals can only be printed by a LaserJet printer, which I do not own, nor does anywhere that I know that I can bum something off of have. So that was kind of the point where I was at. So I couldn't really get one without purchasing a LaserJet printer or whatnot, you know.
I think you can order your own custom design ones online, though, can't you?
Not that I know of. I mean, if there is one, that's news to me. So if you do have a site, why are you holding out on me? Why did you let me suffer like this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
Creations. Hold on,
well,
let's see. Yeah, custom miniature gaming, custom model train, model plane, scale model, woodworking. Yeah, I'll send this to you.
Now I look like an idiot.
Yeah, I just. Excuse me, I had to sneeze.
Don't scream at me.
I just. Yeah, I remember. I was watching some guy. I don't know how much they are too either. I mean, that's. This is the next thing where it's like, oh, I don't know the size they're gonna do, but.
Well, that's the other part too of that, gaming. Right? Is that. Well, that's the other portion of it too, right? Is that like, I am wholly unaware of like how big it needs to be. So, yeah, it would take a lot of work to get that decal, because it's like, it's also, the decals wouldn't be a normal shape. It'd be like this weird oblong kind of thing. And I had a reference photo of like the animation cell for Rebecca, and I was kind of basing a lot of the things, the tattoos 100%, I needed to base it off of that so I could get them all correct, for one.
Right.
But yeah, just like getting it to adhere to the curves of the model would not have worked from just using those reference photos one for one, because the model is a different shape than like the animation cell, you know?
True.
So it would have been, my God, so much freaking overhead just to get that right. And quite frankly, tools that I don't even own. So
yeah,
it's like, I need a pair of calipers. I need different Photoshop editors and stuff. But this is how you do it when you just have masking tape and a lot of time. So you just do this. So I don't think it came bad in the end. It came out bad in the end.
You've
I
got
think it came out
masking tools and autism. Ain't no stronger power than that.
Hell yeah. Neurodivergence and a lot of masking tape. Nothing can stop me now. But yeah, it's yeah, man. I mean, I think it came out pretty good in the end. So I'm happy with the results.
Yeah.
I think I probably would have been, maybe a little bit happier if I was able to print off the decals, and then, I would say it would look 100% cleaner for sure, at least on the tattoos. But the eyes and the face, that was something that I wanted to try to experiment with, just because I want to get better at it. It is something that I've never tried before, and learning new things to put in your hobby repertoire, I think it's a good thing. I think ultimately, because then you find out things where you're like, oh, I really like doing this, or oh, I absolutely hated doing this. I never want to do this again.
I wish I had recorded me doing my Ak guy, because I got this. The Ak guy I had was the old 7-Eleven kit, and the plastic was a bit old, and the arm pieces, when they were in. So I'd actually put the arm together, and I was like, oh, I want to trade the arm out for this piece instead, actually. And I went to go take it off, and I straight up pulled the piece off of the nub.
Damn.
And so I wish I'd recorded how I ended up fixing the problem, because I think, not that it was ingenious, but I think I was pretty ingenious, because
not to toot my own horn, but let me go.
Yeah, exactly. Any cat. You probably could have done it. Anyone else could have done it. But I'm happy that I figured it out for myself, and it's like, oh, I'm now less scared of
breaking your kits. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, I can break the kit, and I know I can put it back together. Or even like next time I go to kit bash something, it's like, oh, I have. I have a slight idea of what I'm doing now. That little Jesus, that's such a small X.
Dude, yes, it is very, very tiny, but it is accurate. It's what she has. Yep. I'm gonna get it, damn it. I wanted it to look like Rebecca.
And you're doing all that you can.
Yeah. There was no available figure, and I wanted a figure, so I did what I had to. I had to do it to him.
No, I had to do him to him.
Pretty much. But yeah, once it gets this small, dude, like you can see me struggling. It's hard. It just didn't want to come apart, and it's like sticking to the side of the knife too. Like, okay, this is third attempt at second eye already here. And I'm like, I need to get creative with this. That's partially why I left most of this in here, so that people could see that, like, I struggled. I didn't just, like, go in here and go, like, look at Rebecca. I made this from scratch, and this is what I came out with. It's like, no, I suffered. I suffered for this. And, yeah. Would I recommend it? Probably not. But I did, so you don't have to. And you can look at mine. No, you can't have it.
In several years' time, I'll steal it from you to sell.
Please don't. You're actively watching me suffer making this. I suffered for my art. Truly, no more suffering could have been held. So, but yeah, this was also super risky move. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Trying to cut off the masking tape. Miraculously, that did not leave a mark. Like, I'm glad that I wasn't having like a complete freaking moment where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna slice this the normal way. But instead I just like pushed against it until the tape just gave. So, and yeah, her leg has words on it. I don't know what it says, and I taped it out like that.
Actually supposed to say dick.
Oh really? That kind of makes sense.
I think legitimately, even in the show, it says dick.
There is a K and there is something that looks like a D, so that makes sense. Also, I didn't film the whole thing of that because I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that over again. Hot pink.
Yeah.
Yo, she also glow. Oh dang, I'll have to do it in post. I need to get some footage of Rebecca glowing, because that fluorescent paint is Mr. Hobby's fluorescent paint, and it's like super, super, super UV reactive. So it's a lot of fun. Her eyes are also UV reactive fun fact. So a lot of really neat stuff with this, or neat paint with this kit. So, and then we'll see the end result here in a second. I think that the tape held really well. I didn't have a lot of fogging. You know how like if the tape isn't down all the way, it kind of starts to get into the parts that you didn't want to get painted. But I think for the most part, this stayed really clean. So let's see if I think I pull it back up to the camera here in a second. Pull it back up, dude. Pull back up to the camera, dude.
Yeah, you idiot.
Gosh, this guy sucks at camera work. This was also like 2 months ago.
Didn't you have a whole setup that was so you could specifically be like, if I put it here, it's in the middle. This is also why I do shit from the side. So like, you know, if you can see me, then you can also see it.
So here's the problem, right? I did do it where it's like, okay, yeah, you can see it from blah, 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 whatever, right? I do this a lot, and I apologize to all the viewers. Probably why we don't have more viewers. I pull things closer to me, and I pull it towards like my face because I'm trying to see it closer. I'm nearsighted. I need it closer to my face. So I'll like always pull it out of frame. But I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yourself the stuff so you can look at it closer.
Yeah.
What's it called?
A magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Zoom in. It's got to be zooming in.
I like those eyes. I like how just like just like that they kind of look dead. They're just very robotic. So the instructions that I saw, they were like, use orange as a base to sketch off the face, right? And I don't know why orange. Maybe it's just a color that's easier to mask with other colors, but I just did it because, again, I'm just taking the instructions from these magazines and going, all right, well, whatever sounds good. So I'm just trying to get as close to some of these sketches as possible to kind of emulate that face. And see, like I said, the top lid, I use the orange to kind of touch the top lid to use it as a reference for where I should map out the eyes. The 30-minute mission heads are kind of weird because I feel like the like proportions of the head aren't good. And that's like, because okay, so have you ever done those learn how to draw books or whatnot, where they're like, this is okay, so like when in those learn how to draw books, they're like, okay, this is how you draw a head. You do a circle and then you draw a point at the end of the circle, and that's the chin, and this part's the head, and yada yada yada, and 3/4 diagrams, and yada yada yada, right? So it feels like when they made the 30-minute mission faces, they were like, all right, we're going to go like 50% bigger on just the circle for the head and not change any of the other scales. So it feels like their forehead and like right underneath their nose is like a big ass circle, like a little bit bigger than it should be. I mean, like it works because I got two right in front of me. I still need to build the Jinrai girl, but I feel like once the hair and everything's on, they look.
Oh yeah.
Fine,
I mean, proportionally, they look good once they have all the like bells and whistles for sure. But just looking at it here, it looks really weird. It looks not correct. So, but yeah, sketching out the face. So this process, the nice part about it is that you can be like super heavy-handed with it, and enamel dries really fast too. So like in terms of like me having to basically, like if I did something that I didn't like and I wanted to redo it, then I could just do it almost immediately. I could just be like, all right, I'm just gonna erase this and start over again, which I had to do a lot. So, and these lines, you see how these lines are kind of coming in inconsistent. They're like a little thick on some spots and then not super thick on others. I have these little they're supposed to be squeegees. They're squeegees for decals, but I've never used them like that. I've always used them as like because they're like spongy, so they hold just enough liquid of whatever to be able to clean off stuff. So I'll use it with in this video. You'll see it a little later, but I just use it to clean off these edges and get finer lines because it has like an angled tip to it, so it allows you to really clean it up. I attended that new type Gunpla and Chill. I was trying to remember what the verbiage they used was, but New Type had this Gunpla and Chill thing, and it was really good. It was a lot of fun, but in that, I'm not sure what to like call that hangout session. I'll call it a hangout session. In that hangout session, there was this person that almost exclusively did garage kits, and they keyed me into this other tool, and I was like, oh my gosh, this community is awesome. Because I wrote down like 3 separate tools yesterday. I was like, oh my god, I've never even heard of that. There was a dude that had like a tape gun that was it was basically like imagine a thing that looks like a literal gun, and when you pull the trigger, it pushes out tape, and there's a button on the side that allows you to just cut it. So like you can pre-measure your tape and then just cut it without having to use like the roller normally, where you just have to use the little like serrated edge to cut it. It would just cut it for you. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. Holy crap.
That is really nice.
Yeah, and then I got like Gaia Notes Finish Master is what that person suggested that does the garage kits. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to get a bunch of other tools because damn, that's awesome. So yeah, but
most stuff from Gaia is supposed to be really good just in general too.
Gaia Notes is fantastic. I picked up some of their paints while I was over there in Japan, and I'm slowly running out of the gold, and I'm like, no, please, I can't get this easily. Don't run out on me. I need you to hold out until I can get back over there. So, but yeah, every time I see somebody use like Gaia Notes on model kit and stuff, yeah, it's always it's stellar. That stuff's super good. But it's nigh impossible to get here in the States. If somebody at some point sold Gaia Notes, I can guarantee you that store now has everything sold out and probably sells only one thing that they couldn't get rid of, and that's it. And it's probably like a basic color, like blue, red, or yellow, or something like that.
Yeah,
but then when you look at like the repertoire of what Gaia Notes has, they're like, oh, we have a special exclusive color for Hexagear. It's a purple. Oh, this is that tool that I was telling you about.
Oh.
So that's supposed to be a squeegee for decals, and I never use it as such. But you see how like I'm starting to refine that line because I had kind of painted it on a little bit messily. So now it's getting a lot thinner and it looks a lot better. Like it's starting to kind of look like I had drawn it with better drawing skills.
Like I was competent at what I do.
Right. It's like I was good at drawing. It's, if I had just shown the final image and not shown how I messed up and cleaned up all this stuff right here, you'd probably think that I was actually really good at drawing. Spoiler, I'm not.
Nobody needs to know.
Right. I mean, I'm showing, so.
Well, yeah.
I'm not trying to prove to anybody that I can draw. I can't. So you can tell by my sketches in the back.
I've been learning, which has been fun.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this before. I draw for all my students.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
And I haven't been taking photos of them recently. I just keep forgetting, and I don't really care that much. But I opened
You used to care.
I don't care to take the photos.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, you used to care a lot. It was like every single day we'd get a new photo of some nightmare fuel-driven image that you drew for your students.
That's what I was about to say. Is I opened my photo, I was looking through some of the photos, and I was like, those things were kind of terrifying. In a random effort to try to get a little better, they're no longer as scary. So with when summer break ends, I'm gonna have to go back and be like, those drawing skills, tossing them out the window. Back to Nightmare.
Back to Nightmare Fuel. I know that you guys are nice and well rested. Also, you see this? You see how I'm using that thinner on top of the eye that's already done? I put another layer of sealant on top of that. So that first layer is protected. So I can use as much enamel thinner as I want, and that iris is going to stay the same color. So it's kind of another thing with this process of doing layers and stuff. The only thing that kind of stinks about it is that it takes forever. So it's like you got to spray a layer, wait until it dries. Spray a layer, wait until it dries. So that's probably the only con that I can see from doing it this way. But I think it comes out pretty clean. I actually really like this technique. If that dryer works out really well, I'm probably going to start doing this moving forward for some of these kits. If not, make at least a single faceplate for a single faceplate that's kind of drawn out like this. But a blurry picture of her face done.
Perfect. That is not too bad.
Deranged face, kind of the softer face reference that I found, and then the more kind of shocked face.
I like how you got the mouth in there too. I like how you did the color there.
Yeah, that one was that one. Fortunately enough, already had like an open mouth on the sculpt, so
nice.
It was really easy to kind of just work off of that. And this tattoo, pretty good. I think. I forgot about the.
God, I can't even imagine how problematic that was.
Oh, it was terrible.
I bet.
But again, I think it came out pretty good. Also, in retrospect, you will never see this. So I'm not really sure why I put so much effort into making this one as perfect as I did. I probably should have just been like, whatever, there's some pink, I'll call it good. Because the jacket covers it almost entirely. So it's
you could always take the jacket off, though, too. I mean, if you ever I want to take the jacket off and see that hard work I put on.
That's true.
You can always just have Bikini Becca.
Yeah, I actually did not paint her arms, like the regular arms and hands. So I'd have to go back and paint her arms and hands this skin color. But yeah, let's see. You see how my God, dude, all those freaking fine lines. Seeing this pains me.
Yeah, it sounds so annoying.
Yeah, it was so much masking tape. So many redos as well, because it's just to get it to even look like the bull, and getting it symmetrical too actually was probably the hardest part. Getting it to look as symmetrical as the reference has it was absolutely terrible, because it's a kind of a the design itself is a little asymmetrical, but also very symmetrical at the same time. So it's just kind of damn it, why you gotta do this to me? But
it's pretty good, though. I mean,
I'm gonna zoom out on that one. Oh, it's too late. You'll see it later on. This is actually pretty zoomed in because I had it in portrait mode instead of landscape. So I'm not sure why I did that a lot for some of these videos. I'm not sure. I don't normally paint it that way, but here I am fixing something because I messed up. And thankfully, I have a huge batch of her color. Yeah.
Okay, so now you have Rebecca. Now you can make a Rebecca mech.
Yeah.
Remecca.
That'd be kind of fun. Just making Rebecca's colors on a mech.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do one of the scope dogs. Oh, I wasn't fixing my problem. This was her hair color. I was painting in her eyebrows. That's what it was. I thought this was me messing up with something.
Doesn't even remember.
I don't remember. I needed to paint her. This was intentional, 100%. I'm not being sarcastic. I needed to paint in her eyebrows. I did not mess up. Yet.
Yeah. So just remember, folks, we don't put out weekly. We don't remember what we did half the time.
This was also almost 2 months ago. So if you're wondering where your video from 2 months ago was, this is it. This is what it was supposed to be. Did we get together and record in that time? We're sorry. We didn't. We have both been very busy. Doing stuff. Doing lots of stuff. Man. It's just
I don't even know where this stuff is coming from either. It's just it's just appearing.
The stuff that's keeping you busy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
What am I doing that I'm so busy for? I don't know. It's something.
Mine has been more of a like, we should do this. Starts to do this. This has taken substantially longer than I initially thought it was going to take. Let's rearrange stuff in the front room and clean up the house a little bit. Oh yeah, sure. That should take like a day. 3 weeks later. I swear to God, if I see another chair or have to throw away another item from this house, I'm just going to leave. I'm going to burn the house down.
See, mine is that I am just actually busy, though.
Yeah.
Where it's like every night of the week, I'm pretty much doing something. I love how your hands, and I also did this. My students don't do it in their art class, but I do it when I'm painting like minis and stuff.
Yeah.
I would take the paint and then I just put it like stripe my thumb with it.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'd be like leaving school and I'm just like, yeah, my thumb is now just a multitude of colors because I've been painting.
Right. I mean, dude, like, it's nature's palette. It works really well. This is like an old that's actually a really bad habit from when I used to paint Warhammer minis. So I have a wet palette that I would, get a fine tip with and stuff like that. But sometimes you have to readjust your tip on your paintbrush, and that it involves you having to drag the bristles through something so that it looks better. It's more pointy, right? Yeah. And what's more convenient but your fingernail? And it's not like the paint is going to stay on your fingernail. It's not like people don't paint their fingernails anyways. So culturally, it's accepted. In terms of the hobby space, it's convenient. So, I mean, I'm not going to knock it. It works really well.
Yeah, it's right there. It's in my way. I need it. Some days you take what you get.
Exactly. So, I'm just never going to do... the other hobby sin of licking my paint. That's a little too far.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
There was a dude at a Warhammer store once that would lick his paints, and he just had like stripes of color, the same stripes of color that you see on my fingernail, but on his lips. And it was like, ooh, buddy, that is very bad for you. You shouldn't be doing that. I understand now why you play Warhammer. Ooh, self-burn. Here we go. Finally get to start putting her together. Also, this so though that 30-minute sister's torso is slightly bigger than the torso of the original kit that had the jacket on it. So every time I put the jacket on, it's kind of dicey. It fits really tightly. Makes it, but it's just kind of like, ooh, man, you're like maybe 2 millimeters away from not fitting together at all. I'm glad that the jacket has like the hood as a kind of a thing that holds it together, because if it wasn't there, it would look pretty bad. It's just coming together.
Impressive.
Coming together. I need to adjust this again so you can see it. But yeah, see, so that hood piece comes off. And now this has a joint that you can open up. And you can just put it on there. As such. and then the arms just fit straight into like the torso holes.
Yeah.
So you could just have her have sleeves with no jacket.
Hey,
There's some like neon decals on the jacket that I didn't do. Maybe I'll do them later or something, but I feel like this is one of those things where it's like the silhouette looks enough like it looks enough like Rebecca, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be like, oh, who's that character? Is that like is that from like a different anime or something like that? And be like, no, that's obviously Rebecca, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, these arms are kind of, again, because it's not the kit that it was intended for, so I had to kind of fight it to get the stupid sleeves in there. This is also a result of like torso being bigger than what the jacket was made for, but I eventually get it in. Right there. Get the other one in there. And there we go. The sleeves on this kit too are kind of weird. So you're supposed to do the elbow joint as you're building like the top piece. So, but if it falls out of that top joint, then you have to like disassemble the whole upper arm to get it back in. It's just really weird. But there we go. Rebecca.
Pretty good.
Yeah, see, it just fell out right there. So I have to like disassemble the whole arm to get that stupid thing back in there as I try to get her to do the middle finger. Like, I just want to pose her this way. And I'm able to slide it back in just by cheesing it there, but it was not in. It was, in fact, not back in the socket. There we go. Gonna get some glamour shots here at the end. I just took some photos instead of doing the spin around like I normally do. But there she blows. You can see the whatever, I guess it's supposed to say dick on her leg.
Yeah.
But
it looks like some type of lettering, so that works.
It's a word of some sorts. Yeah. I gave her one of the other 30-minute mission guns. And I think the soft face. Yeah, exactly. Got to paint it a neon color or something like that. I think the soft face is probably one of my favorite ones that came out. The deranged face is pretty good too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
really good. I'm impressed.
That's the end. That's it. She wrote.
I think I'm gonna give it.
An edge out of runners.
Yeah. 10 runners edging themselves.
Hell yeah. That's the best review I've gotten.
that's I think the color looks good, you know, the skin looks good, the arms look good. You know, the tattoos do look pretty good. If there's any one issue, it's like it's gonna be the face, but like you've got a variety of faces, and I actually don't like the one I'm currently seeing, the spastic one.
Yeah.
But that
yeah,
soft
like I
one
said,
does look good. Like,
yeah, the soft one I think is the best one, the one that came out the best. So
yeah, no, that's they're all really good. I'm impressed.
Thank you. All right, that's it. Goodbye. We'll be back in another 3 months.
Bye.
Bye.